We're back with Germain Wilson for 3-2-1. We've got three more stories. Ready to go, buddy?
Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah.
All right, time for story number 3, reported by the Post Bulletin and K-Rock 96.9 FM. Have you ever witnessed or been a part of an embarrassing car accident? And I'm sure doing, independent wrestling shows in small towns, you've probably seen something.
Yeah. Okay. So I did a show up in Kearney, way up north. It's near North Bay, I guess. And on the way back, I hit a deer. And I've never hit a deer before. And I was just in shock. And so I was going, the limit's 100, I think, or 8, maybe it was 80
kilometers an hour. Yep.
Yeah. Kilometers an hour. I was going half the speed because I was just in shock. And Tyrant was there, and he's like, Tyrant was there, and Scott Chase was there. Yeah, Scott Dawson, different Scott. And the cops stopped me because I was driving too slow. And I said, I hit a deer, and I showed him the blood and the fur. He's like, okay, well, pick it up. Let's go.
Wow. Did the deer die? Like, did you hit it really hard?
Dude, I was in such shock. I didn't stop. I just didn't stop. Can I tell you one more? Maybe this is the story I should tell you instead. I was working at the New VR. My first job in TV was a news station, and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, is coming, and they know that I'm a huge fan. So they assigned me, I'm going to be Ted DiBiase's cameraman all day on this news show. So it's winter, and I'm rushing to get to work, and I'm so excited, but there's black ice everywhere. And so I spin out, and I hit the guardrail twice and totaled my car. And while the car's still spinning, I'm reaching for my phone to call work and be like, look, can't make it. I've still to this day never met Ted DiBiase. And I was supposed to work with him that day. So that's my car accident story.
Fascinating. Well, there's a 53-year-old woman, and she had been spotted on several occasions driving around yelling at people with a megaphone. I think this is in Rochester, Minnesota, I believe. Do you have one of those videos, Joel? There was a video on one of the news sites showing her using her megaphone, annoying people. There she is right there. Got the window down. She's yelling at people using the megaphone. Yeah. I took the audio off so I could talk over it, but you get the sense for what the heck she was doing.
Yeah.
The police were aware of her, but they decided not to do anything because they don't pursue vehicles unless the person is driving in a reckless manner. And so they wouldn't really do anything. But on one occasion, an officer decided to activate his lights and siren in an effort to get her to move on.
Okay.
So she was bothering people with the megaphone. He turned on the lights. When she saw him turn on the lights, she yelled out in the megaphone, "Oh, look, I'm getting pulled over." What happened next, Germain Wilson?
The megaphone makes me think of Jimmy Hart. So I feel like, I don't know, the Mountie showed up or something to help her out of the situation.
In Rochester, Minnesota.
I mean, who knows what the Mount's doing these days? His jurisdiction is far and wide.
So she floored it, motored through a barricade, and landed in wet cement. Joel, you got the picture?
Wet cement.
Look at that, Germain.
Wow. That is stellar. Look how long the tire tracks are.
Yeah, and she ain't getting out of there. She's not getting out of there. Look at that. Look at how she pushed it all out of the way. Look at that.
That's amazing.
So she was taken into custody. She's facing 2 counts, fleeing police in a motor vehicle, 1 count of first-degree damage to property, and having no insurance because, of course, she didn't have any insurance. And so let me ask you this. As a pro wrestler, do you have any memorable moments of facing abuse from fans the way that this woman, she was using a megaphone, kind of abusing the other drivers? Do you have any memorable fan experiences?
Wow, this is a good question. Abusive fans. So shows are very different, I found. You can have shows that are family oriented where there's lots of kids involved, and there's bar shows where it's more teenagers and they get drunk and that kind of thing. And my character appealed to kids very, very much, but sometimes the bar shows, I had a harder time winning them over. And so I remember getting razzed a lot at those bar shows about how much I sucked and how hard I had to try to win them over, and just really, you know me, I used to fly over the top rope and do all those dives. By the end of a match, I always won them over. But man, fans can be rough. When they don't like you, look out. You got to fight through it, battle through it, and win them over.
Do you remember when you screwed me over a giant ladder?
Oh, yeah.
So I was promoting a show at a nightclub, and they had a giant. This thing must have been a 20-foot ladder.
Oh my
They
gosh, you
they
told us so many times.
they had a giant ladder that they used for stuff they had on the ceiling, and the promoter or the owner of the place told me, don't touch the ladder. They had the ladder at the back of the bar, and he said, don't touch that ladder. It's very delicate. Don't touch that ladder. We had a ladder match, and
Yep,
so I went and got a bunch of ladders, and we sent them up around the ring, and I told the locker room,
you did.
there's a big ladder in the back. Don't touch
Don't
that
touch the
big
ladder.
ladder.
You did.
And what did Germain Wilson, JQ Public, do as I'm standing
Yeah.
there watching? He went over, and I don't know if Reggie or somebody was with you. He went over and grabbed the big ladder. And as soon as he did, I thought, this is not going to end well.
I didn't think it was going to go that badly. I really didn't. I was like, it's the big ladder. It's a ladder match. You gotta grab the big ladder. In the moment, it just happened, and it was wrong of us to do.
So the ladder broke, and the guy ended up confiscating all my ladders as repayment, because we left for the night and I didn't have the means to get the ladders out of there that night. So we were going to come back a day or two later and get the ladders. And the guy basically called me and said, you owe me whatever it was for that big ladder, and until you pay it, I'm confiscating all these other ladders. And so I kind of weighed my options, and I said, you can just keep those ladders. That's what I did.
People don't know indie wrestling. Like back then, I kind of wanted to keep it all secret, but now looking back, indie wrestling is not like being in the WWE. I remember going to a town and going to Staples Business Depot. This really happened, and buying a $50 table so that I could go through a table that night because I wanted.
I think I was with you. That was for Billy Boogie.
Yeah. I was like, man, I really want to do a table bump. They're not supplying a table. I'm gonna buy my own table and just do it.
I remember.
Yeah. Indie wrestling is I don't know. It's passion. You do it because you want to do it.
100%. Yep. Oh, the memories. Story number 2, reported by Post Media News. So you and I are living in Canada, and sometimes we take for granted the fact that healthcare is free. It's not the greatest, but at least it's free.
Yes.
There's a woman in New York named Camille Johnson, and she posted on Twitter that her little sister had been struggling with a health condition and finally got to see a doctor. I guess because of COVID, there were delays. She finally got to see a doctor, and Ms. Johnson posted a screenshot of her sister's medical bill on social media because the medical bill included a really strange line item. Any idea what that strange line item was?
Huh. I don't know why I always go sexual. I'm like, there's got to be some inappropriate thing to do with parts of the doll you're not supposed to deal with.
She got charged $40 for crying. Joel, do you have a picture of the bill?
For crying?
Look right there. Brief emotional / behavioral assessment, $40. That's what they called it, but it was basically for crying. Camille said that her sister got emotional because she feels frustrated and helpless over her condition. So she broke down in the office. And here's where this kind of gets interesting. After she posted that screenshot, other people posted similar screenshots, including a woman named Midge. She posted on Twitter that she got a mole removed, and as part of her bill for getting the mole removed, they charged her $11 for crying. I think we got that bill too. Look at there, brief emotion, $11.
That's a real thing, apparently, eh?
I've
never heard of that.
No. So in the US, they charge you for crying. I haven't personally experienced any stupid medical billing because we're in Canada and we don't have to pay for it. Do you have any stories about any stupid medical billing? Like maybe you did something private that required you to pay? Like, do you have any stories about anything like that?
Medical billing? No, I can't think of anything for billing. I've had a lot of, I had cancer last year, you know this. So I went through a lot of medical stuff, weird situations, being, I'm blowing this. I don't have a story for this.
The only thing I can think of being in Canada is either like plastic surgery stuff that you got to pay for, or I have a cat, and I had an issue recently where the cat had kidney disease, and I discovered that all of the products the vet was selling me, they were marking them up like 2 times or 3 times over.
Huh.
And I found a website where I could buy the same stuff for significantly cheaper. So that's the only example I can possibly think of. I can't imagine. What would you do if you got a bill and there was a line item for crying?
First of all, I've never cried. And the last time I cried, I don't know. They just didn't say anything about it. Yeah, I don't think I would pay that. I wouldn't pay that. You don't get, that's not a thing. How is that a thing?
So I think you cried when I asked you to do this podcast.
Tears of joy, brother. Tears of joy.
All right, here we go. Time for story number 1 of the week.
All right, let's do this.
Reported by the New York Post. So Germain Wilson, do you have a dream job, like the ultimate dream job for you?
I've been very blessed. I love my camera job. I've worked in every province in the country doing camera. I know you know me more for wrestling. Wrestling would be the dream job. I mean, I did a little bit of it. I did 6 years of it, but if I could rebuild my entire career, I would be WWE champion.
Interesting. I mean, it's never too late, man. It's never too late. Maybe we'll talk about some wrestling stuff offline. Well, yeah. There's a 22-year-old woman out of Scotland. Her name is Rebecca Dickson, and she was hired for a new job, and she's ecstatic about this job. She said it doesn't get any better than this. She said, this is it for me. This is the pinnacle. This is the job. Germain Wilson, what is this new dream job of hers?
She's one of those fuzzy characters at like an amusement park. Yeah.
That's a good guess. That's a good guess. She's getting paid $20 an hour to watch hardcore porn. Joe, do you have the picture of this girl? So there's a picture of her, like a nice looking young girl.
All right.
There's an ethical sex site called Bed Bible. I'm sure you visit it all the time. And they do data analytics in order to report on tendencies and statistics with respect to sex. And one of the reasons they do it is because they sell a lot of sex toys and stuff like that on their website. And so I think they do it on behalf of their clients. This girl beat out 90,000 other applicants for this job. Her first assignment was to watch Pornhub's 100 most viewed videos. She had to note the duration of each clip, as well as the sexual positions featured in them. So
where's this information going?
I think that they utilize it in order to compile data for the sex toy companies that they work with, I think.
Okay, all right.
That's what I think anyway. Now, awesome segue. JQ Public over here, he used to be a semi-regular guest on the Sunday Night Sex Show with Sue Johansson, and you're damn right that I remembered. So maybe this job is down your alley. Like, do you think maybe this could have been a dream job for you? Right in line, because let me tell you, I remember seeing Germain in some provocative outfits on that show. You think I forgot? I didn't forget.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and I don't have any in the. I still have some of those upstairs in the bedroom. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Yeah. So hey, WrestleMania X8. I've got the shirt here. I was in the building because we did Sex with Sue at Skydome. So
there you go.
Yeah, I was literally at work, and then I watched Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Sex
Very
with Sue.
fascinating.
Just a random thing.
And if no one has ever seen Sue Johansson, she basically looked like a grandma.
Yes.
And so she was right out there, grandma, talking about like orgasms and erections and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, there's a documentary coming out. I don't know where it's going to be seen. Maybe it's Netflix. I'm not sure, but we all did interviews. So Sex with Sue, if you're interested, is coming out at some point.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. I took it so seriously. I got all oiled up because I was a wrestler at the same time. So I was like, I got all oiled up and tried to look good. And I was in a little bit better shape, because I'm a little older now. I'm not in my 20s anymore.
It's very true. Happens to all of us, right?
Happens to all of us.
All right. Well, that's it for 3-2-1. Once again, I want to thank my guest, my longtime bud, JQ Public, Germain Wilson. This was amazing, and I want to do this again.
Yes, I definitely want to do this again. Let's get together again. Thanks for asking me, Jimmy, man. So much fun.
For sure.